What's up everyone, 9th Jim here, back with another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video, and today we're talking about Drifblim. This Pokemon's actually really cool. It has a pretty solid typing, giving us a lot of immunities and resistances, as well as unfortunately giving us a lot of weaknesses. However, it's still pretty solid. You have to have some kind of downside to having triple immunities, which is good. Overall, pretty solid stats as far as offense and support going, with pretty general good bulk. HP at 150, making this Pokemon an amazing Dynamax target. Has solid Dynamax moves as well, and also good support moves. It has the ability Unburden, which doubles our speed whenever we use our held item, being great for things like Weakness Policy, which I talked about Dynamax being great, so Weakness Policy Dynamax, hint hint. And then we also have things like Psychic Seed that are just naturally very good with this Pokemon, and just being a very potent thing here to be able to double our speed, making the Pokemon just really fast and really good of a Pokemon. Anyway, that's going to be it for our overview. Let's go ahead and talk about the Pokemon itself. So, Ghost Flying typing is not that bad, not that great though. We do have 3 immunities, which is really good: Normal, Fighting, and Ground, and then 3 resistances being Grass, Poison, Bug. This is really powerful, especially with things like Ally Switch, and just being a very bulky as far as Dynamaxing and very bulky as far as HP goes Pokemon. You can take a lot of these resisted hits to the face, like 5, 6, 4 times, and be completely fine, especially when you Dynamax. So things like Ally Switch can have a lot of really powerful actions. That's not the right word, but it's powerful. Ally Switch can be very good with certain other Pokemon, and we see Ally Switch every now and again, and Pokemon with immunities loves Ally Switch and loves Pokemon with Ally Switch to be next to it, so it could be great. Anyway, enough about Ally Switch. Let's talk about its weaknesses. So, Electric, Ice, Rock, Ghost, Dark, all very good in the meta, all on some of the top Pokemon in the meta. Although we are weak to a lot of things, we are actually bulky enough to, with Dynamax or without Dynamax, live certain attacks 1 to even 2 times, which is really good. We have things like Excadrill that are just really strong and very apparent in the meta, that have access to very super effective strong damage, things like Max Rockfall, Rock Slide, other stuff like that. And we can actually, with Dynamax, potentially live 2 hits. This is actually really cool. Not likely, but it's cool. Things like Tyranitar, Lapras, Rotom forms, Dragapult, all of these Pokemon, we can live, and we're really fast, so we can get an attack in first, and even if we only 2-hit KO all these Pokemon, we can still be in an advantaged position against those Pokemon, which is really cool. Anyway, Drifblim, let's talk about its stats real quick. So HP 150 is absolutely insane. Dynamaxing this Pokemon is absolutely stupid. It's really good. And then we also have our defense and special defense pretty low, 44 and 54 respectively. Not that amazing, but compared to that with the HP being insane, it's not that bad actually. So it's pretty cool. This Pokemon has some really solid bulk with that HP, really, and then a little bit of investment into defense and HP. It can live a couple of attacks, which is cool. Anyway, for our offense, we have 80 attack and 90 special attack. You can really choose to go which way you want. Its move pool, certain things in its move pool are better for if you're physical, and certain are better if you are not physical, if you're special. We went with special today, even though we're using an attack called Gust that has 40 HP, 40 attack, 40 base power. Not very good, but the rest of its special attack is very good, and special attack in just investing is good in general. We'll talk about that more here in a little bit, but speed 80 is really solid, especially as a base speed for an Unburdened Pokemon. Making this Pokemon really fast with minimal investments is just really good in general. Anyway, that's going to be it for our overview. Let's go ahead and talk about the build itself now that we're almost 4 minutes in. Long video. Anyway, so Drifblim, we're using the ability Unburden. Like I said, doubling our speed whenever our held item is consumed is really good. Hitting ourselves with something like Weakness Policy procking or Psychic Seed with Indeedee can make our Unburden activate and then double our speed for moves like Tailwind or even max moves right off the bat, just being insanely powerful. So that's what we're going with. We're going with Weakness Policy here for this current build, using things like Shadow Sneak from our own Mimikyu or Sableye or something like that, being able to deal a little bit of damage and then activate our Weakness Policy and Unburden, essentially starting the game at +2 speed, +2 special attack, which is very good for this Pokemon. Not to mention the fact that its HP is insane, so you're gonna Dynamax and then not take much damage from that, and then not take much damage from really anything. So we'll talk about our spread here in a little. Let's go ahead and talk about moves first. So as far as our moves go, we have Gust, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, and Tailwind. Yes, I said Gust. It's our best special attacking flying move. I know it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And when you max, it still goes up to 90 base power, which is actually not that bad. So we have a 90 base power, max airstream, as well as Shadow Ball and Thunderbolt for damage. Gust and Shadow Ball going to be our stab moves of choice here for special attacking, and then we have Thunderbolt here just for coverage. Only a couple of other good special attacking moves are in our move pool. A lot of our stuff is going to be support and a little bit of coverage. As far as our move goes here, we also have Tailwind, which is just very good in general, being able to double our speed for the next couple of turns. Tailwind is very, very good in general. Next, we have our flex moves. We have Thunderbolt, or Thunder instead of Thunderbolt, Icy Wind for utility, Weather Ball for damage, as far as like, you know, weird teams. If you have a team that kind of just like summons certain weathers, then it can be good. Then we have Acrobatics that is actually physical attack, but it doubles, making it 110 base power, which could even be not bad comparatively to Gust, which is good. If you use this Pokemon as physical and the roles were reversed, it would be much better, being able to have a break from physical, but having a break from special attack doesn't really do much because nobody's really lowering your special attack very frequently. So Acrobatics is like not the greatest, but it is an option. Next, we have some good support attacks, things like Strength Sap, Ally Switch, Haze, Destiny Bond, Thunder Wave, and Will-O-Wisp. A couple of these are really good. Strength Sap for lowering damage output as well as Will-O-Wisp lowering damage output. Strength Sap actually giving us a little bit of healing as well, and then using things like Ally Switch, Haze, Destiny Bond, Thunder Wave to really throw off our opponent. Destiny Bond being able to take knockouts unexpectedly. Ally Switch being very good, especially with our triple immunities. Haze lowering things like opposing weakness policy Pokemon, things like Rhyperior, Mudsdale, a lot of really good Pokemon in general. Haze is really good against. And then we also have Thunder Wave, which since we're very, very naturally fast, Thunder Wave can be really good, a really good form of speed control. You can go with Tailwind to double our speed or Thunder Wave to lower the chance of your opponent attacking as well as having their speed, which is very good. So that's about it for our move pool. It's very deep and very good amount of attacks as far as support moves. So it's pretty cool in general, but definitely leans more special attack, even though its special attack and attack are very, very close to each other. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the build itself, the spread, the EV spread. So it's pretty weird. We have 204 into defense and 252 into special attack, and then those leftover 52 into speed. So the reasoning I did this was 52 speed gets us up to 107, which doubling our speed with Unburden hits 214, which is enough to outspeed Dragapult and all natural Pokemon, almost every natural Pokemon without things like Scarf, Max Airstream, and Chlorophyll and moves and abilities like that. So that's what I went with to hit that 214. You can definitely invest more. However, I don't really see it too necessary. The only things that are going to be outspeeding us that are super relevant is things like Sandrush, Excadrill, Venusaur is another big one, and a couple of certain Scarf Pokemon that you can tell are going to be Scarf Pokemon, so you're probably fine without dealing with them with this Pokemon in specific. But yeah, at 52 into our speed, we hit a pretty solid speed tier. Next, we have our 252 into special attack, just doing as much damage as possible. We're also modest nature, giving us that plus special attack, minus attack, just so we can deal as much damage as possible. And then we have our leftover 204 into defense, just to be able to live certain attacks. Things like Excadrill don't kill us, Dragapult don't kill us, and a couple of other things, which is very, very good in general. That's going to be about it for our build. We'll go ahead and talk about some synergies real quick before we move on to damage calcs and speed tiers. So first off, we have Mimikyu and Sableye both being able to activate Shadow Sneak, as well as Mimikyu being able to stop Trick Room since this Pokemon loves to be fast. And we also have Sableye being able to use Squash to keep things really down. For the most part. Also, having Will-O-Wisp on both those Pokemon allowed Drifblim to be even more naturally bulky and or like supplemented bulky against certain parties, which is really good. Then we also have Indeedee here with the Psychic Seed above it. If you go with that synergy, then you have to use Psychic Seed instead of the weakness policy to activate it immediately, and then you actually get a special defense buff as well. This is a really cool way of playing it, and it doesn't lose to things like Togekiss, Follow Me, when you're using the other Pokemon. So when you're using the Shadow Sneak weakness policy version, you have to be really afraid of things like Togekiss that'll be able to activate Follow Me and redirect your Shadow Sneak, and thus not activating your Unburden or weakness policy, and you could get into a disadvantaged position from that. And Indeedee with the Psychic Seed kind of just avoids that in general. Also, it has Imprisoned Trick Room, which is really cool. Anyway, that's going to be it for this slide. We'll go ahead and talk about our speed tiers here. So as far as our speed tiers go, we are at 214, like I mentioned, with that 52 investment in Unburden activating, hitting 214, outspeeding things like Dragapult, Inteleon, Cinderace, Whimsicott, Durant, Tyranitar, Excadrill, Charizard, Ninetales. All of these naturally very fast Pokemon we're able to outspeed without any investment, with very minimal investment, which is really cool, allowing us to put more of our MVs into bulk as well as into our damage output with our special attack. Becoming really fast and everything with very minimal investment is a really, really cool thing. So Drifblim has that at its disposal, which is really cool. Things that do outspeed us are going to be mostly just Scarf Pokemon, Chlorophyll, Swift Swim, Unburden, Pokemon like that. And, you know, things like Max Airstream after the Max Airstream or Tailwind, which take a turn, so they're not going to be immediately outspeeding us. Things like Chandelure, Scarf, Form Change Rotom, Scarf, Galarian Darmanitan at Scarf, Hydreigon at Scarf, Venusaur at Chlorophyll, Swift Swim Pokemon, and all of those Pokemon of the like. So, not a bad speed tier in general, being able to outspeed all these unsupplemented Pokemon with a little bit of supplement from its Unburden, but very, very good in general. So that's going to be it for our speed tiers. We'll go ahead and go on to our damage calcs, and most of my damage calcs are going to be with weakness policy, so because right off the bat we're going to Shadow Sneak activate our own weakness policy. That's kind of the goal. Anyway, so Dynamaxed, Max Phantasm, weakness policy procced into a Dragapult, a Dynamax Dragapult, hits 146 to 172%, guarantee OHKO on a Dynamax Dragapult. That's a very good damage calc to have. Now, if you don't go with that, exact play out, if you want to use like Tailwind first or something, well, that wouldn't be the perfect damage calc for this anyway because we're Dynamax. But anyway, Life Orb, Dragapult, Max Phantasm into our Drifblim is only hitting 81 to 96%. This, I know, only, like, it's still hitting an insane amount, but guaranteed 2-hit KO, that's not bad. It means that we live it guaranteed. So if you don't go with the Shadow Sneak, if you like Max and then take out like an opposing Togekiss, like Togekiss, Dragapult was a very threatening and very frequently played lead. So if you go for like a Max, Max Lightning into that Togekiss instead, then we will actually be able to live, which is really cool. Essentially just meaning like you can live that attack and then kill the Togekiss, which is cool. Speaking of killing Togekiss, we do have Drifblim Max Lightning into that Togekiss. This is with weakness policy proc into the Togekiss. We have it hitting 118 to 139% into a very defensive Togekiss, not Dynamaxed offensive. Then we won't be able to kill it. But yes, hitting very, very good. 118 to 139%. Guaranteed OHKO. Very, very good stuff. Now, this is with our weakness policy proc. So if we are actually against the Togekiss and Max Phantasm Dragapult lead, and they max Dragapult, it will be outspeeding us since we didn't activate our Unburden yet. So it'll outspeed us, activate our weakness policy, we'll live, and then kill the Togekiss, which is really cool. And then our Unburden is activated, and the next turn, we can OHKO the Dragapult. It's very good. Like, that's just a very, very good setup against one of the most prevalently played leads. Not really anymore, but still, it's still a good lead. Anyway, enough about those exact damage calcs. I can't talk. Anyway, so Max Phantasm into a specially defensive, which you won't see, but this is just to guarantee it and cover the bases. Eviolite Dusclops, we hit 104 to 124% guaranteed OHKO, one of the most bulky and prevalently played Pokemon in the game. This is a really good damage calc to have as well. Next, we have our Max Phantasm without Shadow Sneak into a non-Dynamax Mimikyu. So the reason I did this was so that you can use Shadow Sneak off of your own Sableye or Mimikyu into their Mimikyu, knocking out their disguise, and then attack with Max Phantasm into the Mimikyu, hitting 141 to 166 guaranteed OHKO. So essentially, this just guaranteed knocks out the Mimikyu on before it can attack, or it won't be before it attacks because you didn't activate your weakness policy, so you didn't activate the Unburden. But still, a really cool damage calc to know. Next, we have our Dynamaxed Excadrill Max Rockfall into our fairly defensive Drifblim Dynamaxed. It hits 49 to 58%, which is a 99.6% guaranteed, almost guaranteed chance to 2-hit KO. This means we live that first attack really, really easily, and we have room for Life Orb if it uses Life Orb, or even no, weakness policy would kill us. So yeah, Life Orb, like even if it's Life Orb, Excadrill, Max Rockfall still won't knock us out, which is really cool, or guaranteed knock us out. Okay. Anyway, that's going to be it for our damage calcs. We'll go ahead and talk about Single Spotlight real quick before we leave. So, Single Spotlight, the build is pretty interesting. Ability Aftermath, since we're not going to be activating our own Burden very frequently anyway, and we are using Heavy Duty Boots so that we can get in there against entry hazards and then activate Defog, removing said entry hazards. And then other than that, this Pokemon's really just a Pesk, using things like Strength Sap and Will-O-Wisp to take down damage as well as heal up some. And then we also have Hex just for some damage output. But yeah, pretty interesting build here. 252 into defense as well as 252 into speed, just being as bulky as possible while also being as fast as possible. And yeah, it's a pretty cool build. Allows us to get in there and just destroy entry hazards and destroy physical attacking Pokemon as well. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Anyway, that's going to be about it for our video today. In sum up, Drifblim is pretty cool. It has really, really good synergies with things with Unburden and Weakness Policy, Dynamax being really, really powerful in general. And it has a lot of really cool things that it can do in VGC as well as singles, even being able to destroy entry hazards and stuff. Honestly, the Pokemon's pretty underrated, and I think it has a lot of really cool applications in today's metagame, and it's definitely something that you should explore if you want to. Anyway, so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and hit that like and subscribe button. Like it up, subscribe it up. We're almost at 2K. We're very close to 2K subscribers, actually. We're like almost at 1,800, so not like right around the corner, but still on the way. And I leaked giveaways a long time ago, or I did one giveaway, but I still have the other two. I haven't done them because of Corona, and I don't know how like shipping internationally really is right now. So I'm putting that off a little bit, but don't worry, those pops are still going out. We're still going to do that giveaway here as soon as the world goes back to normal a little bit. So yeah, anyway, that's enough for my 2-minute outro. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening. Have a great day. I don't know what time it is currently for you, but have a great of that time. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.